Muted that. Okay. Welcome out, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's special YouTube webinar. We're going to talk about how to find great trade ideas. I'm going to help you to what I want to do is walk through my process for finding trades. I'm going to go through just from A to Z. What do I think is a very easy, simple method every week for being able to identify, hopefully, the best trade ideas in the market, best setups and such. All right, so give me a second. Let me make sure I'm good to go here. Yes, all right. Anyways, if you're joining me on Tackle's YouTube page, welcome aboard. Feel free to say hello. I will be monitoring the chat window as we go. Just want to make sure my phone is muted. Hello, Damon. Guitar Flip, Patricia, Majid. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. So I've got Think or Swim up. I'm going to take some notes, and we're going to title this How to Find Great Trade Ideas. How to find great trade ideas. And again, I'm gonna walk you through this from A to Z. So this is my personal process every week. One of the things we do at Tackle Trading on the weekends is we put out our scouting reports. We have a stock report. We have an options report. We have a Forex report. We have a commodities report. And what we do to prepare for that on Fridays is we have a meeting with all the coaches where we all bring our best trade ideas for the week ahead. And it's primarily a swing trading watch list. So we're looking at the chart patterns of all the stocks in the market, and we're trying to find those that have the best setups. Okay, we're trying to find those. Primarily, there's going to be two patterns that you're going to see come up on the bull side and two patterns on the bear side. And so what I wanted to do today was basically walk you through how I find my favorite setups, my favorite trade ideas to bring to the Friday meeting. Okay, so this hopefully will help you formulate your own process. Maybe you piggyback right off of mine. Maybe there are some things you like. Maybe there are some things you don't like. But I know when I first started trading, a lot of my time was spent finding trades. I felt like a lot of the time that I devoted to trading was me looking at lots of charts, finding something to do. And as I've gotten my process refined, and as I've gotten better at knowing what to look for, finding trades is actually very easy for me. Okay. If you have a good process and you know what you're looking for, and you've practiced and you got a little bit of experience, I find this to be very, very easy. Okay. So if there's a trade out there, if there's a quality pattern out there, my process is going to find it. Okay. That's the pitch. So let's rock and roll here. Okay. So we've got let's go. How many steps do I want to do here? I don't know, but let me start with step one. Okay. Step number one, you want to build a watch list of stocks you're willing to trade when they set up. Okay. And so how do I do that? Well, if you think about it, there's, I don't know, 3,000 stocks, 4,000 stocks in the market, maybe. I want to narrow that down to really, for me, I'm an options trader. Okay. And so what I do is I say, okay, group one would be all stocks. Okay. That's our entire universe. Now, how do I narrow that down? Well, the next level would be just stocks that are optionable. And optionable means that they have listed options. They have calls and they have puts. Not every stock in the market has options on it because there are some stocks that aren't that active. Okay. So of the 3,000-4,000, whatever stocks in the stock market, there's a subset of that actually have options listed. But of those that have options listed, there's an even smaller subset that actually have liquid options. Okay. And I think the easiest way to spot those is to look at the ones that have weeklies options. Weeklies options available. If they don't have weeklies options, these are options that expire every Friday. If they don't have those available, they're probably not that liquid. It's probably a stock that doesn't have a lot of activity in its options. Okay. And from there, I want to look at the ones that have the most liquid options. And that's going to be primarily a function of volume, open interest, and bid-ask spreads. Okay. So for me, it's something like, 3,000 stocks or so down to, I don't even know how many are optionable. Let's say 1,200 maybe. Weeklies options, I think there's maybe 400 to 500. And then of those that are really active that I have in my watch list, probably about 150. Okay. So Tyler's liquid stock watch list is approximately 100 to 150 stocks. Okay. So that's my core list of stocks that I personally am willing to trade options on. Now, if I was just a stock trader, I'd have a bigger list. There's a lot of stocks that I'd be willing to trade. But for options, I'm pretty particular in only trading those that are liquid. Okay. So step one for me, build a watch list. You can have my watch list if you want. Okay. I just call it liquid stocks. For those of you that have Thinkorswim, I'll give you the link. So I just click on my watch list. I go down to share. And it gives me a link here. And I think I'm logged in on YouTube. So I think I can throw the link there. If you grab that link and you go to your Thinkorswim and you go to setup and then open shared item on the top right, you can import the watch list that I just put in the chat window. So you can import that and you hit preview, import the list. It'll say it's from Robert 2655 on October 7th. I would rename it, call it liquid stocks, call it whatever you want, but this is my list. Okay. When you import it, it'll then be in your watch list gadget and you go down to personal, and that is where it imports the list. Okay. So it just puts it right there in the watch list gadget. All right. So I got a watch list. That's step one. Step two, is you have to identify what you are looking for. What are the patterns you're willing to trade? Now, most of the time the stock market is bullish. If you look historically, 3 out of 4 years, it's going higher. Most of the time, we're above the 50-day moving average. Okay. And so it's a lot easier over time to find bullish trades than bearish trades. So I'm going to focus on the bull side. Specifically, what are the bull patterns that I'm willing to trade? Okay. And for me, it's primarily a bull retracement and a bull breakout. Those are the two core patterns that I look for stocks to put on our scouting reports. I want to have a quality bull retracement or a quality breakout or some variation of those two. All a bull retracement is buying an uptrend when it pulls back to support. Okay, and I'll draw you a picture here in a second. A breakout, I'm buying an uptrend when it breaks above a key resistance level. Okay. Now, let me back up a step. My watch list does not change that often. Okay. So I would add stocks when we have IPOs. Okay. So when there's an IPO and it's a popular stock, so when we have an IPO and they get listed options and they're liquid, I add it to my list. So like recently I added Snow to the list. Okay. Neo is one recently that I've added to the list. Peloton is a recent public company. Those are ones that probably weren't on my list 3, 4, 5 years ago. Okay. When do I subtract stocks? When do I subtract stocks? Well, probably when they fall below a certain price level, maybe $5 or $10, or they get bought out or acquired by another company. That's when I take it off my list. Okay, so the patterns that I'm looking for, I'm going to refresh my screen here. Because you want to have in your mind's eye, what you're looking for. Okay. Because I don't want to go through my entire watch list manually and take 20 minutes looking at each chart, figuring out, do I like this chart? I don't know. Is it the right setup? This is like pattern recognition. I want to be able to look at a shape like a square, and then I say, hey, is that a square? No. Is that a square? No. Is that a square? Yes. Ding, ding, ding. That's what I'm looking for. When I look at a chart pattern and I say, look, this is a bull retracement. I've got an uptrend. I made a higher high. It's pulled back to support. Maybe there's a 20-day moving average that it's sitting at. That's a bull retracement. So when I go look at a chart and it looks like this, I say, nope, that's not a bull retracement. If it looks like this, I say, nope, that's not a bull retracement. But if it looks like this, I say, oh, that looks like a bull retracement. It looks like my basic pattern. Just pattern recognition. Okay. So when it comes to a bull retracement, again, this is what I'm looking for right here. When it's a breakout, it's going to be something that's in an uptrend, and maybe it's, basing sideways, and there's a clear resistance level that I'm waiting for it to break above. Okay, there's lots of variations on a breakout, but the recurring theme is it's an uptrend, it's at resistance, and if it breaks resistance, it's got room to run. It's got room to run. In terms of how long I would wait when there's an IPO to add it to my watch list, remember, just because it's on my watch list doesn't mean I'm going to immediately buy it. So is there any problem with putting a new IPO like Snow on my watch list, even if I really would want to wait for a couple of months before I trade it? Nope. So in the case of Snow, do I feel like there's a good enough trend for me to trade it yet? Not really. Not really. So Damon, there's no really downfall or there's no drawback to adding it early on if you know it's a liquid stock. Okay. But usually I'll wait till there's some kind of a trend or pattern to trade. Okay. Okay. And in regards to the patterns in real life being different than the textbook, sometimes that is true. And so what it really comes down to is knowing what are the must-haves, what are the must-have criteria of the pattern. So for a bull retracement, you have to have a higher pivot high. If it is an uptrend that did not make a higher pivot high, I'm not buying the dip. I am not buying the pullback. That's a deal breaker. Okay. It has to have a higher pivot high. Okay. On the pullback, on the retracement, it must be above the 50-day moving average. If it's a pullback and it broke the 50-day moving average, that's a deal breaker. So Ahmad, over time, you're going to identify what are the deal breakers. What are the key criteria? And even though there's a variation between retracements, not all of them are created equal. There's going to be these key recurring themes that have to be in place. Otherwise, you're not going to take the trade. Okay. Same thing with a breakout. And I'll hit on some of those as I see them. So me trying to find a good trade. Okay. Let's go to step 3 here. Step 3. So step 1, I've got a good watch list. Step 2, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I've got it in my mind's eye. I found a perfect example. I printed it out. I put it on my fridge. And every morning when I'm going for the orange juice, I would look at the pattern. It's in my mind's eye. Now, as I go through charts, I don't have to wonder if it's a bull retracement, right? I know exactly what it is. So step 3, I'm going to go through my watch list. Okay, look at my list, stock by stock, until I find a match. It's like go fish, right? It's like go fish. There's the list. There's the code for the list there, Kirk. If you've got Thinkorswim, you can put that in your watch list, or you can put it in through setup and open shared item. Okay. All right. So I've got my watch list here. And does it really matter how I go through it? No, you could go highest percentage change to lowest, or lowest to highest, or you could do alphabetical order, or you could sort by price. Quite honestly, for me, I kind of like to go highest price to lowest priced, because I'm an options trader, and most of my options trading I do with higher price stocks. You know, I definitely trade a lot more stocks over 50, 75 bucks than I trade stocks under 50 to 75 bucks. Okay. So I like to be on a 6-month chart. That's kind of my default, 6-month daily, because it makes the chart nice and big, nice and clean. And so I'm going to go through these stocks from highest to lowest. Okay. All right. First one, Amazon. Is this a bull retracement? No, not a bull retracement. Did it make a higher swing high on the last upswing? No. It made a higher swing high here, and then it had a deep pullback and broke the 50. And then it made a lower swing high. Okay, now technically it did just make a higher swing high, but it's not really above the 50-day moving average. So I wouldn't really classify this as a bull retracement. But what I do see on Amazon is a potential breakout. This to me looks like a nice little base. And I feel like if it takes out resistance, it could run back up towards its highs. In fact, if you squint, it almost looks like, what is that type of pattern there? Bum, 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 bum. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. If it can break resistance, maybe I've got a nice little breakout here. Okay, so I think Amazon could be on my short list as a breakout candidate. I'm not in love with the volume patterns. Like, I don't like that it had high volume down day, low volume up day. High volume down day, low volume up day. I don't like that. I prefer that it had low volume on the down days, high volume on the up days. Okay, so not perfect, but I do like how constructive the last 4, 5, 6 bars are. Just nice narrow range. And if it breaks out, it's got room to run. So I'm going to put this on my short list as a potential breakout candidate. How do I do that? Well, in Thinkorswim, you can right click on a ticker symbol and you can go down to mark row. Or you can just do control space bar. That's the shortcut. Mark row basically means it's going to highlight the row for you. Okay, so I know. Okay, Amazon's close. Let's keep an eye on that one. Is it the best setup I'm going to find? I don't know. It's the first one I looked at. Like, we'll see. We'll see. Google. Okay, is Google a bull retracement or a bull breakout? No and no. It doesn't look good. It's below the 50-day moving average. It's below the 20-day moving average. Google's garbage right now. I'm not buying that. Next. Now, October is earnings season. Mid-October, you're going to have a lot of companies reporting earnings. That's going to make it a little bit tricky for swing traders over the next couple of weeks. Some of these stocks, if they have earnings in the next 10 days or so, that's a deal breaker for me. Usually I'm unwilling to trade it when it's that close to earnings. And so in the case of Chipotle, I see this little icon down on the bottom right that shows earnings coming up. I think that that's probably too close, okay? If it didn't have earnings, would this be a tradable setup? Well, we had a deeper retracement, lower swing high, and then it went sideways. Could this be some kind of breakout trade? Yeah, maybe. The truth is Chipotle options aren't that liquid. I know it's on my watch list, but Chipotle options aren't super liquid. It's not a stock I really like trading myself, but it's okay. I don't like the wick of the last two candles, so this wouldn't be a breakout I would take, but I could see somebody calling this a breakout candidate as it is getting ready to, push over that pivot high. But I'm going to pass. Shopify. Shopify needs to cook a little bit. It's come back up to resistance. It's in an uptrend. I'd like it to go sideways for a few bars. Just chill out, and then maybe on a breakout over 1100. But it's come up quite a bit. And I don't really like buying overbought breakouts. So, stock that's got up, and then it's hitting resistance on its 8th, 7th, 6th up day. I just don't like chasing. So I want Shopify to take a breather, chill out. Maybe on a break over 1100, I like it. So sure, I'll copy that one, or I'll highlight that one, put it on my short list. It's getting close to breaking resistance. NVIDIA is in an uptrend, but it just went up, 3 or 4 bars. Is this a bull retracement? No. Has it gone up and made a new high and then pulled back 3 to 5 days? No. Is it getting ready to break major resistance? No. So pass. There's nothing to do here. Netflix, kind of sloppy. I actually think somebody could have bought Netflix today as a breakout of this little base. If I'm not already in, I don't know if I like chasing. It's got earnings next, 13 days away. Kind of running out of time. Right? I don't know. It's just kind of choppy here. I think you could have taken the breakout today, but not really my type of setup. So I'd be passing on Netflix. Okay. Adobe. We got a recurring theme here in tech stocks. A lot of these are getting to the right side of their bases. A lot of these are getting towards where they've been chopping, and they're getting closer to breaking out. I kind of like this look in Adobe. Looks to me like could be a potential base and breakout. Okay, so maybe over 503, 504, something like that. Tough to do anything while it's chopping in the range. But yeah, I like it if it can maybe clear resistance. Sometimes what I'll do to remember that, hey, if this stock breaks this level, I like it, I'll put in an alert. And I'll say, all right, let's right click in the chart. Let's create an alert, because I don't want to put a trade in on this guy necessarily, but I do want to be alerted if it takes out resistance. Good evening, Frank. Good to see you. So I right click, I create alert, and it'll put a line on the chart, and it will alert me if Adobe gets above this resistance level that I'm interested in. Okay. Now, if I want to identify that Adobe's close, I can highlight the row and go to the next one. Okay. Now, I hope that you're starting to see that this is not complicated. What might make it complicated in your mind is that you don't necessarily see what I see, because I've looked at a lot of charts, maybe a lot more charts than you, right? But as I talk through what I'm seeing on the chart, my hope is that you're starting to see my thought process and, the logic and maybe what things I'm pointing out. And if you can start to see that, like what I'm hoping is by the time we're done here in a half an hour, as I'm going through the last few charts, you're going to pick up quicker, right? And you're going to see what I see and maybe more quickly identify whether it's a trade setup you would take or not. Whether it's even close or not even close. What about Zoom? Would this be a bull retracement? remember, bull retracement is uptrend, make a higher high, pull back to support, buy the dip. Doesn't look like a pullback to me. How about back here? Was Zoom a bull retracement back here? Back on September 8th, rallied up, made a new high, pulled back 4 days. That was a nice little bull retracement. Zoom was on our watch list that week. Zoom was on our scouting report that week because it had a bull retracement pattern. Okay. It was one of the best stocks in the market. It gapped up on earnings. It pulled back 4 bars, came down to support. That would have been a good time to consider buying. So this to me, now this was pretty aggressive on the rally here, but not every time it's going to jump up $200 before a pullback, but the structure, higher high, 3 to 5 days down, was intact in Zoom. Well, if you fast forward to today, yes, you made a higher high, but you really didn't have that 3 to 5 day pullback. So instead, what have you done? You've consolidated. That looks like a breakout candidate to me. Isn't it impressive that Zoom was able to go from $340 to almost $540? It went up almost $200 straight, and it didn't budge an inch. Instead of having a deep pullback to 400, just went sideways. That's impressive. What it means is any supply coming into the market, any sellers abandoning ship on Zoom, it's being absorbed. All that selling pressure, all that supply is being absorbed by Zoom. It's like a sponge that never gets full. You're just pouring water, you're pouring supply onto the stock, and this sponge just keeps soaking it up and soaking it up. And the stock doesn't go any lower. It's just going sideways. That, to me, I feel like once they take out resistance, once the sellers are taken out, once the water pitcher is empty, I think it goes higher. This is a good breakout setup for me. I'm going to highlight Zoom as a candidate. Look, we've looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stocks. I have 4 that I think are decent. That's like we're batting 50%. We're batting 50% so far. This isn't hard to find a trade idea. I didn't do any magic, I just looked at my watch list, went from highest price to lowest price. I looked at 8, I got 4 that I think are decent. Okay, that I think are getting close. Amazon and Zoom are the ones I like the most. And Zoom actually, of the 4, is the best. Okay. All right, how about Tesla? Tesla is not a bull retracement. Tesla is not a bull retracement. This is more, this is more of a sloppy setup. Okay, not a picture perfect one. But I do see resistance at 450. Right, it's kind of chopping in the middle of the range, really, depending on how you want to draw the lines. You could call this a triangle. Okay, you could say, all right, well, we're waiting for Tesla to, break out. Or I would just draw a horizontal line around 450, and I'd say, hey, if this takes out 450, I'm interested. That's $25 away. I don't know that I'd put a trigger in, maybe an alert. I'd say, hey, let me know if Tesla starts to get above 450. If it's above 450, I want to know. Let me know. Okay. But I'm not going to put that on my short list. I guess I could. I don't know. The thing is if you add half of these stocks to your short list, it's not a short list anymore. It's a long list. I don't want to have too many. So Tesla, a little too messy, but maybe over 450. All right, back to Ahmad's question. Where would you put your entry? Well, this goes back to, what does the pattern tell you? Right? When you learn about a bull breakout, what is the typical trigger? Right? So the typical trigger is to buy above resistance. And so if I peg on Zoom resistance, let's just make it easy, at 500 bucks, then my trigger would be over 500 bucks. Say go to $500.50, 501. I don't know, however much confirmation you want, but I want it to take out resistance. And hopefully not end up being a wick where it goes up, gets me in, and then comes back down, right? I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But you got a whole number at 500. That's kind of been the high for the last, 2 weeks. I could fine tune it and go to an intraday chart if I wanted to. Go to like a 5-day, 15-minute, or maybe even a 15-day, 15-minute. Take out the after hours, go to style and settings, equities, uncheck the extended hours. All right, so here's kind of the look of Zoom. And I basically took out the wicks and said, there's 500. And, looking for a breakout over 500. Okay. So, yeah, something like that. Breakout over resistance. Okay. Where do you put a stop loss on a high base? Well, you could put it below a prior day's low, right? Put it below today's low. You could put it below the low of the base. In this case, that would be around 460. Right? Now, understand that right now, I'm just looking at this from like a stock trading, swing trading pattern perspective. Right? If Zoom breaks above $500, triggers a breakout, okay, and then comes all the way down below the 20-day moving average and breaks the low of the base, I can kind of say that the breakout has been invalidated. We've had enough adverse movement to effectively tell me, look, breakout didn't work, it was a dud. So if your reason for entering is that it was breaking out, maybe you want to get out of this. Okay. But really, it depends on what strategy you use. Is somebody who bought a call option on Zoom or a bull call spread going to manage their trade differently than someone who does a bull put spread on this Zoom breakout? Certainly. So what you'll notice is you have rules for the pattern that say, hey, Zoom is a breakout candidate. And then you have specific rules for whatever strategy you choose. Okay. I'm emphasizing tonight just the pattern. What are the typical triggers and stops based on the pattern? And then you can massage that or adjust it as needed based on whatever strategy you use. For example, if for Zoom, the way I tried to capitalize on this breakout is I sold a 400, 390 bull put spread. Maybe I don't put my stop below the prior day's low. Maybe that's too tight of a stop for a bull put spread. That could be an okay stop for a swing trade, but not for a bull put. So because of the strategy I selected, I'm opting for a looser stop loss. Maybe my stop is $400 for that bull put. Alternatively, somebody who looks at this high base breakout and purchases a bull call spread, maybe they buy the 450 call, maybe they sell they buy the 540, they sell the 550. They do an out of the money bull call spread. Maybe they want to be long gone if the thing breaks support. So they use the tighter stop. So you and I can trade the same pattern, similar trigger, but different management. Because I did a bull put and you did a bull call. I did stock, you did some kind of spread. All right, so great questions. All right, next, let me go to a couple others. There's Tesla, Lockheed Martin. You look at a chart like this, it's incredibly choppy. I say, see you later. Not even going to bother with this thing. Next. AVGO. Okay, how about this guy? Go back to my 6 month here. Is this a bull retracement? Is this a bull retracement? Is this an uptrend that made a higher pivot high and then pulled back a few days? No. It's an uptrend that's been going sideways, building a base. Is it getting close to breaking resistance? Yes. Could this be a breakout candidate? Yes, it could be. It could be. In fact, don't you think it's maybe been a breakout candidate for the last couple of weeks? Broadcom, that's this company, AVGO, has come up on Fridays in our scouting report meetings. Frank will attest to this. We've looked at this chart on Fridays, okay, because it is a potential breakout candidate. So I'm going to highlight that one. I think that one's decent. Costco. Okay, is Costco in an uptrend? Yes. Has it pulled back 3 to 5 bars to support? No. So it's not a bull retracement. Is it getting ready to break key resistance? No. Now you might say, well, what do you mean? I mean, is that not a resistance level? Why couldn't you say it's getting ready to break that? I guess you could. I guess you could. But see, it's gone up way too far. I don't like overbought breakouts. I don't like stocks that have run up before they get to resistance, because I feel like it's out of gas. I feel like I'll get suckered in, I'll buy it on the breakout, and then it'll finally pull back and take a breather. So I like Costco, but I don't like the pattern. So I'm not going to do anything. Pass. MasterCard. Is this a bull retracement? Did this make a higher high in its uptrend and then pull back 3 to 5 bars to support? No. It's chopping around. Chop, 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 chop. But is it a breakout? Is it getting close to breaking a key resistance level? Well, I mean, there's resistance right here. Obviously, we're not breaking that. Okay, how about this one? You got some resistance at 345. Does that look like a level that's been tested multiple times? Resistance, 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 resistance. Looks kind of like it to me. Could I say this is, I'm stretching here, but left shoulder, head, right shoulder, inverted head and shoulders pattern looking to break the neckline? Like if I stood on my head, did a handstand for the webcam, you'd see my left shoulder, my head, my right shoulder, flipped upside down, right? Inverted head and shoulders pattern. I like this setup. We're getting close to breaking resistance. If it breaks this 346, 347, it's got room to run. It's got a good 10, 15, 20 bucks. This is a good breakout trade. I bet, Frank can back me up, if Frank and I were doing the scouting report today, I bet this would come up in the meeting and we would probably make the case that this is a breakout candidate. No, it's not breaking to all-time highs, but it is breaking a key level and it's got room to run. Now, if we had 20 breakout candidates, maybe this wouldn't be the best one, but it would definitely be under consideration. So I'm going to highlight MasterCard. So look, now, how many have I done? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. Just kidding, I went too far. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13. We've looked at 13 charts. How many look pretty good from a bullish perspective and could be trades? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 13 have actually pretty good breakout patterns. 6 out of 13. What does that mean about the stock market? What does that tell me about the health of the broader market? That I've looked at a list of liquid stocks. I looked at 13 in no particular order other than just highest priced to lowest priced. And 6 out of the 13 actually have fairly compelling breakout patterns. Is the market bullish right now? It is, right? So we could say it's not just a stock market, it's a market of stocks. I just looked at 13 stocks, and by and large, all 13 are bullish. But 6 of the 13 have a decent bull breakout setup right now. Does that make me optimistic or pessimistic? Does it make me more bullish or more bearish? I mean, I come away actually pretty impressed. Okay, market's pretty constructive here. Did a great job today of overcoming yesterday's nonsense. All right, Lululemon. Are you noticing somewhat of a recurring theme here? Is it getting easier? It should be, or I'm not doing a good job. Is this a bull retracement? Yes. Just kidding, it's not. Did it make a higher pivot high? No. It did a month ago, but since then it's been, garbage. But did it recently make, a nice advance? Yes. Is it basing near resistance? Yes. Could that be a potential breakout candidate over the 50-day moving average? Yeah, maybe. That's actually a nice little base there. Okay. Nice little base. And by the way, as long as Frank hangs out, Frank, if I make a mistake and you're like, Tyler, you're up in the night, you're an idiot, that's a garbage pattern, you call me out. I think this is actually we got a decent base going here. If this thing can take out 343, I think you got a nice little pocket there that it could fill. I wouldn't mind another bar or two, but I think you got some room. I don't mind Lululemon either here. I don't mind it. Okay, UNH. Now, one thing that you'll notice as we go through here are some recurring themes when it comes to sectors. Look at the ones I've highlighted: Amazon, Shopify, Adobe, Zoom, Broadcom. All 5 of those are tech. MasterCard is tech. It's pretty much tech. It's not even financials, it's tech. Lululemon, okay, that's retail. But, now we get to a healthcare stock. UNH, healthcare stock. Healthcare stocks aren't that exciting to trade, honestly. They don't tend to trend near as well and create as many tradable setups as tech stocks. So I'm already biased against UNH because I know its nature. I know its behavior. I know in general, these are hard to swing trade. Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, I have opinions and I have biases, and I don't really like healthcare stocks because I just historically, they haven't really played well with my type of stuff. So anyways, long story short, is UNH getting ready to break out? Yes. Is UNH in an uptrend? Yes. Do I want to trade the breakout? Not really. Because if you look historically, its breakouts have been hit and miss. I mean, I can go identify a lot of times where there's broke resistance and didn't do a whole heck of a lot. So it's choppy, it's messy, and it's got earnings coming up. Pass. Wayfair. Yeah, Wayfair is not bad. Could be a breakout. Actually has kind of a pennant pattern going here. I don't know. It's kind of been stair-stepping higher, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Just kind of a slow, steady grind higher. I find setups like this a little bit harder to trade. I like some of the other patterns better. See, now we're in a position to be picky. The overall trend of Wayfair is fine. You could trade this as a pullback. You could buy it over today's high. It's okay. I just like some of the other setups better. Twilio. Twilio is a little bit overbought. Would you agree? A little bit extended here. I don't think that's a low risk entry. If I was going to trade the breakout, it already broke out. Needed to pause or pull back. If this thing pulled back for 3 or 4 days, I'd be interested. With today's candle, I think I got to let it simmer a little bit. So Baba, going to uncheck that. How about Alibaba? Alibaba actually looks pretty clean here. I don't mind this setup. Don't mind it one bit. This is a breakout pattern. It's an uptrend. It's gone sideways near resistance. In fact, this to me looks like a nice cup and handle. Okay, now that handle's kind of dainty. It's like a little teacup, you know, with your kids, teacup set. Not much of a handle, but a little handle at the brim of the cup, right on the cusp of completion here. And Baba has a pretty good history of rewarding breakout traders. Breakout follow through. Right? Breakout follow through. Sitting at 300 bucks, nice round number as well. Okay, not bad, not bad. So I like Baba. Okay, like that one. All right, a couple of you have put in DraftKings, DKNG. This would be a bull retracement. First one that really we've seen. First one that we've seen. Okay. First one that we've seen. So higher high, yes. 3-day pullback, yes. Sitting at potential support, yes. Yeah, bull retracement. If this finds support here, it starts to turn back up, could be a buy the dip pattern. I like DraftKings. One of the few stocks that has a bull retracement. Now in OW, this could be a breakout candidate. Yes. Damon, that is true. The one thing I'll say with ServiceNow is as I look at its history, though, some of these breakouts aren't great. Breakout, go nowhere, breakout, go nowhere, breakout, go nowhere, breakout, go nowhere. Breakout, go nowhere. I don't like this. I don't like the trajectory where it's just kind of this slow, steady grind. I like stocks like AMD, which when they break out, they run like a scalded chimp, right? They just, have a history of running a lot. Now is okay, but it's just a slow and steady mover. So better for a position trade than a swing trade, right? How about Fedex? Well, I should have bought Fedex a couple days ago when it broke out. I'm a little late now. I'm a little late. If only FedEx were on a watch list over the weekend and you could have caught it before today. Oh, shoot. It was on our watch. It was on our scouting report. So a little needed to pull back. CRM. CRM. What would you say is CRM here? It's not a bull retracement, not anymore. Is it a breakout? Yes. It is a breakout. I drew the line. It's right at resistance. It's a nice uptrend. If only you could have had CRM on your watch list this weekend before today. Oh, wait, it was on the options report. It was on the options report before today. Majid, do you ever scan in FinViz? That's what Frank's for. Frank's he's the FinViz bird dog. So that's the nice thing about having different coaches with different approaches, right? So I know Frank's got FinViz on lockdown, right? He's going to run his scans and he's going to find a lot of stuff. And here's the thing. Frank, there's not much overlap between Frank's picks and mine, particularly if Frank has a lot of stocks that he brings to the Friday meeting, because he scans a larger universe than mine. right? My list is probably the top 100, 150 most actively traded stocks with options. There's a lot of stocks on FinViz that maybe have good stock liquidity. Maybe they trade 500,000 shares a day, maybe 1 million shares a day, but the options are eh. And so a lot of those that Frank will bring to the table will end up on the stock report because they're A-okay for stock trading, but they won't typically be on the options report, right? So for me, because again, I've got the smaller universe, this is my method, okay? And I like to get my hands dirty. So I like to go through it manually. Now, in the time that you and I have been talking today, we've only looked at 20 charts. This has taken me 10 times longer than if I were doing it myself. So if I were doing it myself, I would have been done 40 minutes ago. In 10 minutes, I would have burned through this watch list and find the setups that I like. I would rather spend 10 minutes going through my personal curated watch list than do a scan personally, right? Because I just use the link feature that you've seen me using. So I click the little link button here, make it yellow. On the chart, there's the same link feature, you make it yellow. I just go to my chart, okay? Then I hit this little down arrow right here, right there. And I go down and I say, is that, I'm like a kid holding up my trophy. Smile for mommy. It's my trophy. I just hit the down arrow and I say, do I like the pattern? No. Do I like the pattern? No. Is it a bull retracement or breakout? Is it a bull retracement or breakout? Is it a bull retracement or breakout? Okay. And then boom, 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 boom. And it doesn't take me long. It doesn't take me long. Okay. So that's my preferred method. Okay. All right. So let me see. Let's fast forward to the next step. Okay. So yes, DraftKings does look great for a bull put spread. I would agree with that sentiment. Okay. I would agree with that. So let me review. Step 1, build the watch list. Step 2, identify what you're looking for. What are the patterns you're willing to trade? Learn them, take a picture, put it on your fridge, memorize what it looks like. Step 3, as part of your routine, if you want to go find a chart, okay, then for me, I like to look at my watch list stock by stock. So I don't necessarily do it every day, but on a weekly basis, 100%, if I'm on a scouting report, okay, meeting with Frank and the other coaches, this is my process for finding the ticker symbols that I like, okay? And once I've narrowed it down, let's say I'm done and I'm like, okay, I liked Amazon for a breakout. I liked Shopify. I liked Zoom. Now I can kind of compare these guys one by one and say, all right, which patterns do I really like the most? Okay. And for me, for today, I would say that Zoom, MasterCard, and CRM are probably my 3 favorite, just of the charts we've gone through. Okay. So then I may narrow it down even further and say, okay, I got 3. Like what strategies do I want to trade around these? What are the triggers? You know, what are the stops, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Then I can kind of go through those and, you know, build out some nice trades. You know, another one I saw earlier today that I thought was pretty was NEO. You know, NEO was another one that I thought was very pretty. Nice little base here, right? That I think is a pretty pattern. Yeah, I don't know if I like MXIM is starting to heat up too, but so do you have any questions as we start to wrap up here? If you have any questions, holler. What I would do here different if I'm looking for bear trades, I go through the same process. I'm just looking for stocks that have the bear retracements and bear breakouts. Okay. But the takeaway for me is that the market, just seeing a Deep's comment there. That's right. That's why Frank's always happy. That's why he doesn't have any kids running around or wives with honey-do lists. He's just, yeah, living that independent life. Palo Alto's not bad. I'm just going to pound through these. We got just a couple of minutes that I'm going to bounce. I hope this was helpful, guys. So if I think a wonderful exercise for those of you that are pro members and get our scouting reports is before you look at the trade setups that we highlight over the weekend, look at your own watch list. Do it on Friday. Do it on Saturday. Look at your own watch list. Highlight the stocks that you think have good patterns and see how many of them made it on the report. And over time, as you improve your process, I bet that you will begin to identify the same stocks, or at least similar stocks that we are. Inevitably, you won't get them all. I never do. Okay, because different people have different processes. And, quite frankly, if you keep finding really good patterns that don't make them on the scouting report, that don't make the scouting report, maybe bring it up and say, hey, Frank, what are you sleeping on the job? You missed Apple. It had a really good bull retracement, right? Or you should have had this stock. Maybe there was a reason why we didn't have it. But I know for me, when I first started, it gave me confidence as I was looking at charts and finding my own trades. When I would find trade setups that more experienced traders would find, like it signaled to me that I was on the right track, right? Because a lot of times you're in a silo, you think it's a good pattern, but you're just all alone out there. And getting a second opinion and or just having a bunch of coaches scour the market while you did and come back with the same setups can be a confidence booster for me. Okay. So, all right, with that, I'm gonna jet. I've got a bear market survival guide mastermind meeting here in 30 minutes for those of you that got the bear market survival guide. So we'll launch that here in about 30 minutes. For everybody else, thanks for hanging out. I hope that you learned a thing or two on how to find great trade ideas. I think we found quite a few good setups here. Zoom, MasterCard, Salesforce, Neo, a couple of the better patterns that came across our paths. If you guys want to learn any more, check us out, tackletrading.com. And we'll see you on the scouting report this weekend with a whole